Chief Olusegun Oshoba shares the same opinion with you in terms of devolution of powers and restructuring. That gives the southern governors some form of vested power to make decisions without the federal consent in the state. So can we say that this is what the northern governor and the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, are antagonizing about?
I can't say that the northern governors made a position contrary to what I'm saying. And of course, since I made reference to a committee chaired by Governor Nasir El-Rufai, and I think he's a northern governor, and they're presiding over that committee, came up with a very beautiful recommendations, which is before our committee at the Senate level on issue of recommendation. But talking about the Attorney General of the Federation, I've expressed my displeasure as to his position, talking about equating herdsmen and spare part dealers in northern part of the country. He could come up with a better argument and contention in support of his position on the issue of ban on open grazing. But to be making example of orange with apple is inapposite and also insensitive to those people who have been at the receiving end of inauspicious and atrocious attitude of some criminal-minded herdsmen. Killing animal is not something extremely unique. It is animal husbandry, and I think it is high time our country look at a modern way of doing this very important part of agriculture.
I would like to ask that as a senator representing the Osun Central Senatorial District, under the ruling party of APC, do you sincerely think that in the 2023 elections the APC has a chance, considering so much agitations and chaos that we have gone through in the hands of this current administration?
I'm not a prophet. I'm a politician. I don't have power of clairvoyance, but I know the party to beat in the 2023 election is the APC, and contrary to the noise of the minority opposition parties, the party is strongly on ground. And when you see the gains that the party has made in the political area in terms of more membership in the National Assembly, I think the only party that people have been defecting to in National Assembly is the APC. In even the governors, the rank of the party in governors is also swelling. But beyond this, beyond the challenge that we have in security, which we are confronting head on, I will say that the country has made quantum leap under the present administration and government of our party. And I will give a concrete example in this regard. In the area of social intervention, more than ever before in the history of this country, this is a government that has taken the question of the welfare of the vulnerable to be paramount of paramount interest in governance. And look at the trader money, look at the Empower, look at the public, 774,000 public works, look at the intervention in the area of local businesses, and of course, support to farmers and anchor borrowers holding, which is being done by the CBN.
When you say social intervention and giving a thumbs up to this administration, it begs my mind for questions or answers, because you say social intervention and saying that this government has done a lot to, impact the people in that area. Yet you find the cost of food prices and the market going up. Yet you find the cost of the petrol price, pump price of PMS going up. You find the indices to say Nigeria is still under a recession or just slightly coming out of a recession. And then you say the government has done well in social intervention. It begs my mind for questions.
We have done very well in the area of social intervention. You just imagine, I'll first contextualize what you have said in the context of global dynamics of what has happened to all of us, and we are still combating in terms of COVID, the COVID pandemic. Of course, the COVID pandemic affected all the countries all over the world, including the big economies like the United States of America. If you go and assess the economies of this country, and you put on a comparative basis, you will say that the country has fared better, and it's because we are lucky to have a purposeful government in place.
According to the Senate sitting on the livestock database bill in our country, you argue that no portion of the Constitution gives the National Assembly the power to legislate on livestock, knowing well that it will ensure protection, control, and management of livestock, and also traceability of registration and cattle. So I must ask you, sir, why that opposition, especially knowing that we've been clamoring for database for a while, we've been clamoring for, transparency and accountability. What do you have to say to this opposition, sir?
You see, just as I said, when I was making my submission for the National Assembly,
yes, sir,
I never said that the objectives of livestock identification and management are not desirable. I'm not saying there should not be livestock identification and management legislation. I will not say there should not be policy along that line. But what I canvass at the level of the Senate is that it is the state houses of assembly that have the competence, because they are residual matter not expressly listed in the exclusive legislative list, not also included on the concurrent legislative list, and ipso facto by section 4, section 7 of the Constitution, and the authority of the Supreme Court case in Attorney General of Lagos State and Attorney General of Federation, which is reported in Part 833 of the Nigerian Weekly Law Report. It is the State Assembly that has power to deal with livestock management identification.